Hi. Welcome, everybody, to Knock Knock Hi with the Glaucumfleckens. I am Dr. Glaucumflecken, also known as Will Flannery.
I am Lady Glaucumflecken, also known as Kristen Flannery.
And guess what?
What?
100 episodes today.
Woo-hoo!
We did it.
We did.
Never thought we'd make it this far.
I did.
Oh, okay.
You just needed to
I've just been
believe
holding on to
in yourself.
the stress and anxiety that we'd make it all the way. You didn't tell me we would make it easily.
Oh, you wouldn't have believed me anyway. You like to have all that stress and anxiety. It's why you became a physician.
Oh, yeah, it just keeps me going.
Yeah.
100 episodes.
100.
What have you learned over the last 100 episodes?
I've learned that... Oh, boy.
Have you learned about things that you like talking about and things that you don't like talking about? What really gets you going?
Well, I've learned a lot about the healthcare policy / system.
That sounds really fun.
Side of things, and I don't like what I have learned there. That's just depressing.
Do you like learning about it, or does even that make you like, oh, I'd rather be doing anything?
No, listen. We may be 100 episodes in on Knock Knock Hi, but I am 20 years deep of knowing you. So I've been having to listen to stuff like this for a very long time now. It's part of my life, whether I like it or not.
I have learned a lot about different areas of medicine, which I think is something that is hard for ophthalmologists to do. Mm-hmm. We don't get out much.
That's true.
We're
you don't see the other people.
Insulated in our own little world. So, and I've also learned that we can work together.
You and I.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that we're never alone in here.
What do you mean?
We have our producers that can overhear what we're saying. I feel like that keeps us on our best behavior.
Does it keep? Do we need to do a few episodes where Shanti and Rob are not listening to us?
Well, and we know the audience will be listening, right? So we can't get too comfortable.
Okay. I think what that means is we need to have a few drinks for an episode once and see what happens.
That'd be fun.
A drunk talk instead of Glauc talk.
That's a good idea. We should have done that for this episode, number 100.
No, I need a clear head for 100.
I
don't know.
Well, some of us are able to do things.
I don't think we ever told anybody that this is a Glauc talk episode.
This is a Glauc talk. Just the two of us.
Yes, and so I'm still having fun.
Yeah, this is fun. I like this. This is one of my favorite parts of the job.
And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see where it takes us in the next 100 episodes. So we want to thank everybody for listening and being here, especially those of you who are with us from the beginning. But if you just joined us,
welcome to this weird little world.
Yes, absolutely. And so let's see, what else we need to talk about today? What's been going on in our lives? Our live show?
Yeah, we've been touring.
Full swing.
It's very fun and very tiring and lots of traveling. Yes. And the crowds are great.
Yes, they
so
are.
Fun to be in front of people and see their faces and meet them and talk to them.
Can I ask the people a question?
Yeah.
This is really just out of curiosity. We've enjoyed every location we've gone to. It's fascinating to see the speed of ticket sales in different locations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been
So here's what I've noticed.
Okay.
Is certain places that you would not consider a big market.
Right.
So like Raleigh,
mm-hmm.
Iowa City,
mm-hmm.
Places like Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They're cities, right? But they're not like Chicago,
right?
New York, Houston,
right?
LA. And so what we're finding is those kind of smaller markets, they sell really quickly.
Yeah.
It's like they're just right away. And then so the bigger cities, they're still selling, but people are buying tickets.
Like much later. They wait
just
longer.
Later. Is that just because you have like so many things you can do that you just...
They don't want to commit.
You don't want to commit to seeing a like a social media influencer, doctor, comedian guy.
If something better doesn't come along, then I'll go to that.
which is totally fair, by the way. It's because this is our first time doing like a tour where we're selling our own tickets.
Yeah.
So as before, we've done speaking. It's just we just show up and do it. And
Right. Someone else has gotten the people there.
Someone else's job to accumulate the audience. We're doing it ourselves, and it's so we're just kind of learning about this. And I think that's what it is. I really do. I think there's just too many things people in New York have to do.
Yeah.
Like they've got
a lot of options.
They gotta walk fast everywhere, and too many. Like I don't know how they decide to do anything. There's too many restaurants to choose from.
Yeah.
Where you were growing up, Dublin, Texas. How many restaurants did you have to choose from?
You mentioned that an inordinate number of times.
I think it's fun. I love talking to you about it because you hate it so much.
That's what it's like to be married, folks.
No, I'm curious. Well, because we were talking about it earlier today during an episode we recorded. And so it just popped into my mind. So I'm curious. I don't think I've ever gotten this information from you.
Okay.
How many restaurants did you have to choose from compared to people in New York City?
It would not even register on the New York City scale. I think we had a Dairy Queen, of course. Once I was in high school, the big news was we got a Sonic. That felt monumental.
That was a big deal. Was there
that was a huge deal.
Was there ribbon cutting?
Probably. I think there was like a local, maybe a Mexican restaurant, if I remember correctly.
Gotcha.
Maybe like one other option. Very few options.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't do a lot of.
What did you get at the Dairy Queen?
I don't remember the food. I probably got a burger.
Did you ever consider
I got a lot of ice cream.
Did you ever consider working at the Dairy Queen?
No, I already had a job. Remember, we'd been through this when I was 10.
Oh, yeah. You were sweeping floors.
I've been working since then. I had 2 jobs by 15. What were you doing? Playing Pokemon?
I was playing Pokemon, actually. I had the red version of Pokemon. You have no idea what I'm talking about. You never played Pokemon, did you?
No.
I distinctly remember.
I did not have money or opportunity where I.
Well, you know what happened? You know how I got, because my parents did not buy like Nintendo systems or anything. Why? I don't know. Rotting brain cells. I don't know. All that stuff. But anyway, my friends, for my birthday, they pulled their money together and got me the big fat Game Boy.
Oh,
you remember the fat Game Boy?
I do.
And Pokemon.
Yeah.
The red version of it, I got myself a Charmander.
I know Charmander because of you.
Because, folks, I talk about Pokemon all the time here. And I remember going to school and like on lunch or after school or before school, we'd just sit there and like play Pokemon together. Yeah. This was like in 6th grade, not high school.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, we were pretty young.
You weren't doing that in high school?
No. By high school, I was way too cool for school in high school. I was busy playing my trombone in the band.
Yep. You know, someone made a comment on a photo of us recently on social media.
Really?
Yeah, and they said to me that I looked way cooler than you. And is this a nerd/cool kid love story?
Do we need to share some more photos of what you used to do?
Well, listen, I responded that I am actually far nerdier than you are.
Absolutely.
I never said you're cool, but I did say I am nerdier
Here are
than
the
you.
cool things I did in high school, okay? I quit the band senior year because
what a rebel.
That's right. I played Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah.
And I started doing stand-up comedy.
Okay. I was a cheerleader.
Okay. All right. I played football in junior high.
Is that what you call it?
7th grade.
Yeah.
You knew this.
I do know this, and I also know that's why I'm doubtful about that word play.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, okay. You're doubting my football skills. All right. So let me.
I know that you got pancaked.
I did get pancaked. Really? You remember that?
Yeah.
I haven't talked about that in a long time. I used to have nightmares about it. But because in Texas, because I wanted to play basketball.
Yeah.
All the football kids got to play in the basketball team.
Right.
So I knew I had to like play the game.
Football is the main currency.
Yeah.
So they want as many kids as possible going out for football.
I had to play the game. So I
literally.
Yeah. So I joined the football team, and I was almost immediately placed on the B team, third string defense.
Real important spot.
Third string defense on the B team. Me and a friend of mine, we would sit. It'd actually be on the sideline talking about Pokemon because we couldn't have our games. So.
Okay, you're not making the case that you're not a nerd.
All right.
You're really not helping yourself.
Okay, we did do that, but I did get put in the game a couple times. Once was on a kickoff. It was the kickoff team. I didn't do the kicking. I was just supposed to run down there. One time on a kickoff, I got a penalty on me because I jumped on the pile after the play because I wanted to be involved.
Like a dog.
Yeah. And then the ref, I have a vivid like flashbulb memory of him saying, "Get off the pile. It's over," or something like that. And then another kickoff, that's when I got flattened.
Yeah.
I did this thing. It's like I could see myself in slow motion doing it. Like I kicked because every time we kicked off, I was like, I don't want the guy and the ball like to come to me because I don't want to hit anybody.
Because then you're a target.
Yeah, I was like this like 130 pound, like 6'3". I was like skin and bones.
You're a piece of spaghetti out there.
Yeah, and so I didn't want to hit anybody, even though I was taller than everyone. But that's okay. I was made.
You could have just like put your arm out on their forehead.
I had hollow bones like a bird.
Keep them away.
And so the guy though on this particular kickoff, he's a big guy. He was like started running toward me.
Yeah.
And he got by all the other people that I was using as a human shield to protect myself. Got past all of them. And then instead of like running toward him to try and tackle him, I just kind of stood there and just braced myself, which didn't do a lot of good because he ran directly over me. I think he stepped on me and then scored a touchdown.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Did not look very good.
It's because you didn't do a spin move. Should have done a spin move.
That's offense does a spin move.
I'm going to say somebody's running after you.
How would a defender do a spin move?
I'm getting out of there. You know what I would have done? I would have ducked. I would have ducked, and then I would have done a somersault.
Is this a good time to remind everyone that Kristen is the least least competitive person in the history of humankind?
Look, I don't want to get pancaked.
All right, so let me. I'm not done yet. Sense. I'm still trying to convince you that I was actually pretty decent at this because the last game of the season actually was put out there to play defense on the defensive end. I was on the defensive line, and it was garbage time. Last game of the season, but I tackled the quarterback. He was trying to scramble. I tackled him out of bounds. It was like I was like jumped. I like flew through the air and tackled him out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then the sideline, they were treating me like I was like a charity case. Like, oh my God, Flannery, he did it.
Like,
he actually did tackle. I got big hit of the week that week.
See, now this is a pity award.
My name was on a bulletin board in the locker room. What people didn't know, and that because it was on the opponent's sideline when I tackled him, and that I never spoke up about because I liked the attention, was that I totally tackled that guy after he was already out of bounds. Don't tell anybody, okay? I don't want that award taken away from me.
Well, I think
I think
the limit, statute of limitations is passed. Probably.
You think so? Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
All right. Let's take one break, and then we'll come back and actually talk about stuff that matters. Today's episode is brought to you by the Dax Co-pilot from Microsoft. To learn about how Dax Co-pilot can help you reduce burnout and restore the joy of practicing medicine, visit aka.ms/knockknockhi. That's aka.ms/knockknockhi. All right, here we go. So what we're going to do, I have a couple things I want to touch on. One is we got to wrap up a conversation that we had at a previous Glauc Talk episode about wearing scrubs in public.
That's right.
Oh man, the response that we got from that conversation. So just to recap, we were talking about just both of our respective thoughts
Yes.
on wearing scrubs in public.
Correct.
Your thoughts were, as long as the scrubs like are clean, there's not like blood and guts all over the scrubs, like you don't really care.
I don't. I do not care. And I think most people outside of healthcare also do not care, minus the like germaphobes, like the people that like the Howie Mandels of the world.
Right. And then my thought is that, me, like I try very hard at all costs to try to change before I go out into any public place. Much to my annoyance. Right. Because
I want you to just stop by the store on your way home, pick something up, come home, right? Like, what's the big deal?
And so we talked about this for like half an hour on an episode. And
people had opinions.
So over on our Patreon, so Gabe, he said, if it's hospital scrubs, no. Like flat out no.
Right. Like those vending machine.
Like the vending machine, the paper scrubs. Yeah. They're not technically paper, but they kind of feel like paper. Nice scrubs, though, like what I'm wearing now, like brand name scrubs. Sure.
Okay.
Which is, I get that, but I think a lot of people would still disagree with that. And I think Gabe's in healthcare as well. Caitlin, another person on Patreon, was like, if you're coming and going from work and they're not gross, it's fine. Don't wear them to the gym or something that's weird.
Right. That would be weird.
Okay.
But yeah, as I'm saying, if you're just coming and going from work and you need to just stop and run a quick errand, as most people might on their way home from work, great.
All right, but here's an email. This is from Amanda, who said, totally agree with the feeling that scrubs just have a contaminated vibe. And that's what I think a lot of people feel. I think I mentioned that as well.
Yeah.
It's like just the idea. It's like your imagination just goes wild of all the horrible things that you'll be exposed to when you're wearing scrubs, which I don't think there's probably a lot of data to like back that up.
Right. I have never thought that.
You never thought that?
No, look, Amanda's an RN. So like, it's what I'm saying. If you're in healthcare, I think you think about this a lot more. I'm not saying one's right or wrong.
True.
Because maybe those of you in healthcare, you just are better informed about how many germs might be on your scrubs or something.
Amanda went on to say that one day at work, she was dealing with quite a poop situation. She thought she got everything cleaned off her shoes.
Oh, boy.
But then tying her shoes the next morning, she spotted 2 little brown flecks on the top of her shoe.
Ew. See, that's another thing. You won't wear your scrubs in public, but you don't extend that to the shoes.
Shoes are...
that you wore.
Yeah. I guess if you're in an operating room setting, people wear shoe covers, but not... Like most
Just
people in a hospital do not wear shoe covers.
Right.
And so something like this could happen, but it gets better. She says, guess what? The patient tested positive for C. diff.
Oh, dear.
So it's a bad one.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
what about her?
She says, my point is the scrubs are one thing, but let's be honest, work shoes in public is the real crime. And now I really understand why so many nurses change their shoes and leave the work shoes at work, even if they commute in their scrubs.
Yeah.
Are shoes worse than scrubs? That's a question.
Right.
I've never even thought like...
Especially if you're wearing your shoes into your house. If you're wearing your shoes into the grocery store
kind of monsters wear their
or
shoes
something,
in their house?
Then, probably not a lot of things are going to be on that floor that are going to end up making someone, you know what I mean? Like no one's licking the floor of a grocery store or something. So that I'm less worried about.
Okay.
But shoes into your home where, you and your children might be on the floor together, for example.
True.
Sometimes you come in and you just melt like a noodle onto the floor and you put your face straight on it and just lie there.
And somebody just give it a good lick, too.
Well, I hope you don't lick it, but you do lay on it.
It's making it sound like I'm just dying to get on that floor and just lie all over it.
Just saying. There are variations of bad here.
All right, one more email here from Juliana, who's an architect. So I wanted to definitely read this because it's not a healthcare person.
Okay. We don't know if she is or isn't a germaphobe.
Right. Who says, as a city dweller, I've got to side with Dr. Glauc here. Scrubs in public are gross. See?
All right.
Non-healthcare person.
Okay.
Scrubs are gross. Of course, if the scrubs look pristine, then it's pretty clear they're something that's have a job that's not so gross. That's chill. Okay,
See,
never mind.
again, right. If they are not soiled.
It's a thing.
Yes, which let's be honest, yours never are.
But there are so many healthcare professionals on the T in Boston wearing hospital-issued scrubs on packed public transit. And they often wear their badges on their commute, so I can see their inpatient physicians or floor nurses, not something less gross. So like a receptionist or something. So it's icky to be on the way to the office at 7:30 a.m. and have an exhausted-looking resident with questionably sanitary scrubs pressed up against you on a packed train.
Pressed against you on a packed train, sure. I wouldn't like that. But
I don't know if anybody would want to.
I don't want to touch anyone, scrubs or not.
What world would you want to be pressed up against anybody on a public transit?
Right, like they're breathing on you, they're touching. Right, like that's gross no matter what.
Okay, well, I think that was fun to see the response from everybody.
Yes, a lot of healthcare workers do not feel like it's okay to do so. Like we said in the episode, I think you're mostly policing yourselves. And if your scrubs are clean and you want to just make a quick stop after work, feel free.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. All right. I've got another topic for you.
Okay.
This came up on social media. And, okay. How do I say this?
Well, speaking of things that might be 100.
Let's talk about old person smell. All right. Now, that is not my term. All right.
No, it's a term.
It's a term, probably not the best term to be using for this.
Right.
So what can we say instead? We could say an elderly scent.
I don't know that there's any way to say this that's not kind of offensive.
It is a smell that as you age, I'm putting on my doctor hat where I try to explain aging things to people that without making them sound like they're old. So
we mature.
That's a good one. As we mature.
And we gain years and experience.
We hence might possibly acquire a scent on our bodies.
There we go. A fragrance.
From whence thine
why are we in Old English all of a sudden?
I don't know.
Or Shakespearean.
I don't know. I'm getting nervous talking about this because I just know how people might interpret it. But this is a real thing, okay?
Yes, it is a biological phenomenon that happens.
There's even a Wikipedia page, and the title of that page is "Old Person Smell."
That's right.
All right. So I was not when you mentioned this because I brought this, I showed you, and you were like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I know what that is."
Yeah. That's what my grandparents' house smelled like.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, you didn't believe me that it was a real thing.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? You're making this up.
Yeah.
But it's...
And you were saying it was like, no, things they're choosing to use, like a perfume or something. Like, no.
Yeah.
Just
or like
the body.
The potpourri in the house or something.
Right.
But no, you tried to convince me that it was actually...
Yes.
Like...
It is a human smell.
So, did a little research, and Kristen is correct. We have that biology
on
to this.
record.
Old person smell is the characteristic odor of elderly humans. Like many other animal, I'm reading from the intro to the Wikipedia page. Like many other animal species, human odor undergoes distinct stages based on chemical changes initiated through the aging process.
Well, listen. It can go the other way. We can make this less offensive by the cutest thing possible. Little babies have a smell, very certain characteristic baby smell.
That's true.
So it's on both ends of the age spectrum.
Correct. And so there's one study that suggested that this smell may be the result of a chemical called 2-nonenal, Nonenal. I think I'm saying that right, nonenal, which is an unsaturated aldehyde, which is associated with human odor during the aging process. So, but then there's other studies that like say that, oh, that's not actually what it is. So I don't know if there's like a consensus on what exactly the chemical is that's producing this scent.
Yes, but the scent itself is a thing. The arguments here are just about what is the underlying mechanism producing the scent.
And so then the question that this usually brings up for people is, okay, well, I don't want that
What
smell.
can you do about it?
What can you do about it? Well, there is a place in the world called Japan.
You might have heard of it.
Yes. And in Japan, there's a lot of social value that's placed on grooming.
Okay.
And
hygiene
and not, all this stuff. So there are soaps from Japan that are dedicated to getting rid of this smell.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all a persimmon is like the ingredient that they say does the best at removing it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Japan. They're on it. They know about this, and
persimmon soap.
They're working on it. They've done the work, the research, and they are at the forefront of old person smell innovation.
That's right. We have a persimmon tree.
Oh, we
at
do
our
now.
house.
Yes.
And so when you get old, I think I might just go out there.
Just rub some
make
persimmon
you
on
rub
me.
some persimmons in your pits.
I'm gonna grab some persimmon off the tree and
persimmon
just
armpit.
bathe right there in the
Yep.
in the yard.
Yep. Just do a little persimmon sponge bath.
When I noticed that we had that tree, I was like, "What on earth is a
who
persimmon?
eats persimmons?
What do you do with a persimmon?
I don't know. Hey, people know.
Do you
Please
make
tell
sandwiches out of persimmon?
I don't think so.
It's like you put it in a
No,
salad?
it's a fruit. You don't make fruit sandwich. Maybe you can make a jam out of it, I guess.
Persimmon jelly?
I don't know.
Oh,
What do you do?
I don't even know what a persimmon tastes like, but it sounds terrible.
I don't know.
Okay, so tell us, knockknockhi@human-content.com. What do we do?
could just Google it.
What do we
but
do? I
this is more
do I
fun.
pick all the persimmons and send them off to Japan for soap? I don't know. Like, what do I do? What do I do?
It's not a bad idea. We should start saving them for your old age, which is rapidly approaching.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Our producers are here to save the day. There are many ways to use persimmons, including eating them fresh.
Okay.
What do these taste like, though?
I don't know. Go eat one.
I don't know. I think they're overripe now. We didn't know what to do with them. Oh, making them into desserts or other recipes.
Okay.
So you can eat them fresh.
They taste best when lightly chilled.
Okay.
Add them to salads.
Oh, wow.
Pair well with cured meats and blue cheese.
They look like apples.
Yeah.
They look like apples, but they have these ridges on them. They look like, actually, no, not so much like apples, like some
tomato?
kind of, like a small gourd.
Oh.
Like a really tiny handheld gourd. That's kind of what they remind me of. So ripe persimmons taste sweet, rich, tangy, and honey-like. That sounds delightful.
All right.
Dang.
And some people describe them as having a jammy or jelly-like texture. So you could make jelly.
Right. So they're sweet. Could use them.
Some people say they taste like a cross between a mango and a roasted sweet pepper with hints of cinnamon and dates.
All right, you guys know what to do. Send us your favorite persimmon recipes. Let's hear it. Help the Glauc and Fleckens out with our persimmon tree. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Hey, Kristen.
Yeah?
I'm full of Demodex mites.
Oh, I see that.
Are you?
I have no Demodex mites.
Let me give you one.
Thank you.
Let me have another one.
Okay.
All right, this one goes on your head.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'll put that there.
Keep them on.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what those guys do?
They cause red itchy eyelids.
Yeah, sometimes they do. They can cause Demodex blepharitis.
Oh.
Red, itchy, irritated eyelids, crusty, flaky buildup on your eyelashes. You look a little grossed out by that.
Well, it's not my favorite thing.
But they're so cute, though. Look at them.
Yeah. Is this what they look like?
They do
clinic?
look like this. They're not like soft and squishy. They're probably a little bit more
crunchy
sturdy and crunchy. But don't get grossed out. All right.
Okay.
Get checked out.
Well,
That's what you need to do. To find out more, go to eyelidcheck.com. That's EYELID check.com to get more information about these guys, Demodex and Demodex blepharitis. All right, so we have one more thing we can do before we head out let's close out our 100th episode extravaganza in which we've talked about old person smell and my addiction to Pokemon as a young child.
There's a picture I can share. I
Of
gotta
me
dig
playing
that up.
Pokemon?
No, not you playing
Me
Pokemon.
dressing up as a
Just-
Pokemon?
No. No. Just a picture that relates to our discussion about nerds and cool kids.
All right. I think people will be excited to hear that, see that. Okay. So I asked you to research like medical things that happened 100 years ago.
Yes.
Now, what does that really have to do with us doing our 100th podcast episode? No, nothing.
They share
but it doesn't matter.
the number
This
100.
Is our podcast. We could do whatever we want. 100. 100. I was trying to think of an ophthalmology thing that's related to the number 100.
Oh. Well, if you put a 1 over here and then your eyeballs are the zeros.
So what did you come up with in your search for a 100 years of medicine?
Well, okay. So in 1924, 100 years ago, German physiologist and psychiatrist Hans Berger recorded the first human electroencephalogram.
The first EEG, huh?
That's right.
Okay. All right. I have an EEG bow tie.
You do.
People were very impressed whenever I wore that for the first time.
Yeah. Somebody wore it to a show.
Yes, they
had
came
one
in.
Too.
They dressed. They brought a reflex hammer as well.
Yeah.
And I had me sign the reflex hammer. I signed a Tromner because they were very impressed that I was able to come up with the name of the reflex hammer. I have so much useless information because of the stupid Glaucomflecken thing I've been doing for so long.
It's true.
Like, why do I don't need to know what the reflex hammers are called,
well,
but
now
I do.
That's filling up your brain.
So Hans Berger, electroencephalogram. How do you, like, okay, he recorded it, but then how does he know? Like, I imagine
what do
it was
you do with that once you have the recording?
Like, you had the squiggles.
Yep.
But then did he have any idea what they meant?
I don't know.
Did he just make it up?
I'm sure they must have known some things.
What they like 100 years ago, they're probably just trying things,
It
right?
could have been.
Just put an electrode on the head and see what comes out.
Well, I mean, when did phrenology fall out of favor? Is this around the same time?
10, 15 years ago?
No.
All right. What else do you have?
Okay. You might have to help me with this pronunciation. Thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura. Purpura.
Nice. You did pretty good. Thrombotic thrombocytopenic purpura.
I did better than you.
TTP.
Is first described by Hungarian-American pathologist and physician, as if a pathologist is not a physician, Eli Moskowitz?
That's actually a good point. It's described as a pathologist and physician. In case you didn't know, pathologists are physicians, everybody.
That's right.
They're very good ones.
Blame Wikipedia.
It's not fair because now
I'll
tell you what's not fair. It's not fair. Everything's already discovered.
Yeah.
All the easy. Can you imagine
trust me, that was one of the things about like the research, the academic model that we have right now with research. It's like it was created in a time where it was much easier to publish a paper just describing something new.
Literally a guy at one point opened up an abdomen and we're like, oh, I'll name that.
Stuff's in there.
Liver. That's me. I discovered that. That's, granted, they did live like hundreds of years ago where life was probably very hard.
I'm pretty sure the liver, don't you think that like Hippocrates knew about the liver?
No, I think it was Frank Netter that discovered it.
Okay.
Anyway.
1924, Johnson & Johnson begins mass producing the Band-Aid.
The Band-Aid.
There you go. 100 years of Band-Aids.
100 years of Band-Aids, everyone.
Mm-hmm. Also.
What else you got?
Again, this is Wikipedia. Take it or leave it, right? Who knows? The first inactive tetanus vaccine is discovered and produced.
Awesome.
And the first scarlet fever vaccine.
Who discovered that one?
Mr. and Mrs. Dick. George and Gladys.
Really?
That's what it says.
All right. There you go. Big year.
I don't know. Maybe they prefer to be called Richard.
Wait,
Mr. and Mrs. Richard.
1924. I can't believe 1924 was 100 years ago.
I know.
Seems like only yesterday.
I think that was I feel like one of my grandparents may have been born in 1924. Really? If they were still alive, they'd be 100.
You don't see a lot of people, when I first started, this is how I feel like I'm aging in the medical field, is because like when I in residency,
back in my day,
I saw a lot of patients born in the 20s. Like you'd see the birth date.
Yeah.
1929, 1928, 27. All the World War II veterans, so we'd see it a lot at the VA. And now, you just never see that birthday anymore. So I'm seeing patients in the late born in the late 30s. Right. A lot of that.
It is 10 years later, so that makes sense.
Yes. Are you saying that's I'm kind of Captain Obvious here, right? But
yeah, I mean,
anyway.
just anyone that can count would.
Thank you for that. All right, I think it's time to wrap this up, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
I would like to know, before we exit here, I would like to know what people would like to see here.
Over the next 100 episodes?
Over the next 100 episodes, yes.
Should we start planning our 200th episode?
Let's do it.
What happened 200 years ago in medicine?
Oh boy, that'd be interesting.
The eye was discovered.
200 years ago. People didn't know we had eyes.
No,
my goodness. But really,
we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Let us know. Knock, knock, knock. Email. Knock, knock. There's a by the way, there's a TikTok trend now. There's a little game you can play on TikTok where you make the chicken go like over through an obstacle course.
Okay.
But you to make the chicken go, you have to make the chicken sounds. So you go bark, 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 to make the chicken walk, and then to make it jump over an obstacle, you go bark. So
people playing that on the subway or
something. I was in our bedroom. This was yesterday. So everyone was gone. It was just me and our oldest daughter in the house. Mm-hmm. And she was like in the kitchen or something. And I was playing this game. And I was I was being very loud because you have to be loud. I was like, and then eventually she started like doing it back to me. Having no idea what I was doing. She had no idea what I was doing. She just thought it was sad that I was like talking like a chicken by myself and decided to converse with me.
Yeah, and she's like in that teenage phase, so she must have thought I was real sad. Just took a lot of pity on you.
I loved it. It was so fun. Okay, anyway. Email us, knockknockhigh@human-content.com with any thoughts, questions. If you have any more opinions about Scrubs or elderly scents, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks to all the listeners leaving feedback and reviews. If you subscribe and comment on your favorite podcasting app or on YouTube, we can give you a shout out, like @Mira Wenya on YouTube said, "Hey, Mrs. Glauc seems very competitive to me, at least when it comes to winning an argument." Damn.
No, that is not competition at all.
That is competition.
No.
No?
It's no competition.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Full video episodes drop every week on our YouTube channel @GlaucandFleckens. We also have a Patreon, lots of cool perks, bonus episodes, react to medical shows and movies, hang out with other members of the Knock Knock High community. We're there and active in it and holding elections, early ad-free episode access, interactive Q&A, live stream events, much more. Patreon.com/GlaucandFlecken or go to GlaucandFlecken.com. Speaking of Patreon community perks, new member shout out, Dorothy and Jay. Thank you both for joining our little growing community. Shout out to the Jonathans as usual: Patrick, Lucia C, Sharon S, Edward K, Stephen G, Jonathan F, Marion W, Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C, Brianna L, KL, Keith G, JJ H, Derek and Mary H, Susanna F, Jenny J, Muhammad K, Aviga, Parker, Ryan, Muhammad L, David H ×2, Gabe, Gary M, Eric B, Marlene S, Scott M, Bubbly Salt, and Pink Macho. Patreon roulette time. Random shout out to someone on the emergency medicine tier. Rachel P. Thank you for being a patron, and thank you all for listening. We're your hosts, Will and Kristen Flannery, also known as the Glauc and Fleckens. Our executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Flannery, Aaron Courtney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brooke. Our editor and engineer is Jason Portillo. Our music is by Omer Benzvi. To learn about those Knock Knock High program disclaimer and ethics policy, submission verification, licensing terms, and those all-important HIPAA release terms, you can go to glaucandflecken.com or reach out to us, knockknockhigh@human-content.com with any questions, concerns, or fun medical puns. Knock Knock High is a human content production.
Knock knock, goodbye.
Hey, Krista, what would you like Jonathan to do for you?
All of my chores.
All of them?
Yes, every last one.
Yeah?
Yep. I
Even
want him to make my bed, clean my house, parent
laundry,
my children.
everything?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if he can do all of that, but let me tell you about an alternative.
Okay.
The Dax Co-pilot from Microsoft.
Oh, it can do many things.
It can't do all your chores,
No.
but it can help physicians with their documentation, all the administrative burden that just sucks the joy out of practicing medicine.
Yes, and makes the doctor-patient interaction worse.
Exactly. 85% of patients say their physician is more focused when they use Dax Co-pilot. 93% of patients say their physician is more personable and conversational.
Yes, because you can be a human and actually look them in the eye and talk to them.
It just allows you to obtain work-life balance that is becoming harder and harder to obtain these days in healthcare. Learn about how Dax Co-pilot can help you reduce burnout and restore the joy of practicing medicine. Visit aka.ms/knock-knock-high. Again, that's aka.ms/knock-knock-high. Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen, or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Help you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.